There are a lot of controversies in this world. Coke versus Pepsi. Should you use the Oxford comma? Is cereal a soup? But there's one thing I can guarantee that we can all get behind, and that's everyone loves getting money. What do I mean by that? Well, the government is actually going to be writing a check to all Americans that qualify, and I'm going to detail how much that check is, how you can qualify, and when you can expect to receive it in this video. My name is Kevin Conway. I make personal finance videos like this one all the time, so if you like that sort of thing or want to know my thoughts on financial products, what credit cards to get, or how to invest, be sure to check out my other videos like this one and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into it. Now, I really don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea to write checks to all Americans. All I do know is that it certainly won't hurt people's individual finances. And the free money couldn't quite come at a better time. There's a Fed official who actually said that we could potentially have 30% unemployment in this country, which is remarkable and worse than any time in history, including the Great Depression. Banks and economists also detail that we could have a contraction in GDP of over 25% in Q2. There's a lot of panic and uncertainty. People are losing their jobs or getting their hours cut, and everybody is seeing a significant dent to their lifestyle. So receiving a check is certainly going to cushion the blow against any financial hardships, and if anything, provide at least a little bit of moral boost. So as we speak, Congress is passing the legislation that is going to give every American that qualifies a significant amount of money. So how much are you going to receive? Well, if you are a taxpayer and you have a Social Security number, you can expect to receive $1,200 if you're an individual making less than $75,000 per year, or a married couple earning less than $150,000, and that's $1,200 per adult. So if you're married and have no kids, you and your spouse will receive a combined $2,400 if you make less than $150,000 a year. Now, how do they determine how much you have made since we're partially through the 2020 year? Well, they're going to look at your 2018 tax return, and if you do not have a 2018 tax return, they will look at your 2019 tax return if you filed it already. Now, this is kind of strange because I don't really know what your job in 2018 has to do with your financial position today. There's probably a correlation, but it's not direct. You could have lost that job, or you could be making way less money today than you made then, but that's the way that the law is going to be written. And if you have kids, they're not only good for little tax deductions, they actually will pay you money. Finally, you're going to get a return on your investment. You will get $500 per child that you have in your household, in addition to that $1,200 per adult that I stated previously. Now, what happens if you had made more than $75,000 in 2018? Well, your amount of money that you're going to receive from the government will be reduced by 5% of the amount over $75,000 up until $99,000. So if you made $100,000 or more, sorry, you will not be receiving a check for your individual portion. And if you made somewhere in between, it'll be scaled down. The same logic applies with those married couples filing jointly that made more than $150,000 but less than $200,000. And unlike the original draft of the Senate bill, low-income Americans or people who aren't making very much money are not going to be having their checks reduced by any amount, which kind of makes sense because if you're not making very much money, then you probably need the money more than somebody who's making $150,000 with their spouse. So how will you actually receive this cash? Well, if you filed your tax return before and got your refund electronically, then Congress is going to process it via that electronic bank connection unless you make some sort of election to change it. If you don't have that already set up, they're going to mail you a physical check to your address on record. So in my scenario, my wife and I have a brand new baby boy, so that means we're going to be receiving $2,900. Not too bad. So when can you expect to receive these checks? Well, it won't be within the next week, unfortunately, and some people predict it'll be in early May, but we will not know for certain for the next few days. It likely will be sometime in late April or early May. But wait, there's more. If you've lost your job, including your job as a gig worker, for example, working for Uber, you can be receiving an additional $600 per week in unemployment insurance that is on top of the unemployment insurance that you would already be receiving, and that amount of money is going to be good for 4 months. That's in addition to the check that you will receive. This stimulus check is actually part of a much, much larger bill valued at over $2 trillion, and that encompasses loans to individual small companies and large corporations as well. It is part of a massive stimulus program that hopefully can get this country out of the rut that it likely will find itself in as a result of the massive nationwide shutdown. So what should you do with your stimulus check? Well, number one, you should make sure that you have an emergency fund set up at a high yield online savings account that is backed by the FDIC. I have many examples of savings accounts that I would recommend you putting your money in. Me personally, I have SoFi Money and I also have Ally Bank. Both of those are very good companies and they both offer interest. Some of them offer more interest than others for various reasons. But that is where I would put my stimulus check if I were receiving it. I would put it there in the event of an emergency. That way I could draw upon it and cover my bills. Number two, if you have high yield credit card debt, I would recommend paying it off. But if you can't pay it off for whatever reason, call your credit card company and ask them to defer your payments, penalties, and interest and waive those penalties and interest to a later date, because a lot of them are offering to do so in light of the economic situation that everyone is finding themselves in. Credit card debt is incredibly burdensome and you always want to pay it off if you have the means to do so right away, because that interest is going to kill you. But again, today you're able to actually call your credit card company and get that interest and penalties waived for the time being. You're still going to owe the credit card company, but you can actually give yourself a little bit of breathing room. Number three, if you have a mortgage, you can actually call your mortgage provider. And if you've been affected by this recession, you can actually get your mortgage payments waived for a period of time. You're still going to owe the money on that mortgage, but you can actually get it waived on a month-by-month basis up to 12 months. This can give you, again, a little bit of breathing room, which can certainly help if you're finding yourself in a tough situation. Number four, if you have a job that you know is 100% secure and you know you're not going to lose your job, I would take this opportunity to take that stimulus money and get it into the market. Invest now, because stocks have fallen dramatically in the last few weeks, faster than any time in history, which means the stocks have gotten much cheaper in the past few weeks. I've invested my money in the past couple weeks buying companies, buying index funds that I already owned, and I've added positions to them because I know in the future we're going to make it out of this and we're going to be sitting a lot better than if I did nothing at all. You want to buy when the market is low and sell when the market is high. That's pretty obvious. But I would caution investors to know that we are going to be facing very volatile times. We don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know if the market's going to fall another 30%, but we do know that if you hold on long enough, you're probably going to be just fine. Take the opportunity to put your money to work now. Buy when people are scared. I have a video out that says be greedy when others are fearful. That pretty much sums up how Warren Buffett thinks of the market and how I think of the market as well. And lastly, try to be optimistic. Realize that we're all in this together. We're going to get through these tough times and we will make it out on the other side. If you have the means to do so, I'd recommend supporting your local businesses because they are hurting probably more than a lot of other individuals are because they have no traffic. The government has completely shut down access to these businesses in the traditional way in a lot of the country. So if you can, buy a gift card, get takeout, do whatever you can. That's what my wife are doing every couple of days just to support the companies and the restaurants that we really like. So that's pretty much it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you think it's a good idea on the government's behalf or you think it's a waste of money. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out my other ones. I'll see you next time. Thanks.